Hey, welcome to the Straight Sports Podcast. We're your hosts, Joshua and
Tushar.
in this podcast, we'll give our opinions on our favorite sports, which are basketball, soccer, and wrestling.
So let's dive into the topics. Topic number one: ESPN had a poll for the best player in the world. LeBron got no first place votes. Giannis and KD got votes ahead of him. Giannis got 5 votes, and KD got 5 votes. So Joshua, what do you think? Is it disrespectful that LeBron did not get any first place votes? And in your opinion, who is the best player in the world?
I don't think it's disrespectful. I feel like it just shows like the league is like, and I say this as respectfully as possible. I feel like it's just moving on from LeBron. Like I said before in a previous episode, they say that consistency is boring. So he's been great for so long. I feel like people just want to see a new player on top. And I feel like both KD and Giannis have earned that right. And I feel like, it's their time. I guess he should like have at least one vote, I feel, because he is one of the top players in the league. He's always been like top five players in the league as long as he's been in it. But I feel like his time is coming. He's still in his prime, obviously. He's never been out of his prime. But I feel like it's just a new era. And to answer the second question, I feel like Kevin Durant is the best player in the world right now. I know Giannis did just win a ring. He
Preach.
did just win Finals MVP, but KD's on another level talent wise. He's more dynamic offensively, and I feel like he's a better player. That's just my opinion, though.
So before I answer this question, I first got to give a shout out to my friend Danny. He's the greatest 2K player of all times. He cooked me real bad in 2K. I got blown out real bad, and I just want to acknowledge him that he's the GOAT of 2K. Um, and to answer this question, I'm gonna say no as well. I don't think it's disrespectful. Yes, LeBron not getting any first place votes, that seems kind of like weird, right? LeBron's
Yeah,
always gotten some first place votes, but I'm gonna say no because this season LeBron was hurt, right? He wasn't
true.
himself, and he can get that title back. But this year, it's no. He got no first place votes, and it's just because Kevin Durant this season showed like he's the best player in the world coming off that catastrophic injury,
Hmm.
having big time games, in the second round and in a game 5 and a game 7. The stat line that he put up, Giannis got to the finals. In our top 10 list that we did in the last episode, I had KD at 1 and I had Giannis at number 2. So
Hmm.
to me, I believe personally that KD should have got 10 first place votes and Giannis should have got nothing as well. But if I'm not mad that people give Giannis 5 votes because you can argue he's the best player in the world. He is the
Yeah, you
champion.
can.
But me personally, it's KD, no question.
Yeah, same.
So LeBron, it could be type disrespectful, but I still believe it's fine. I think, the two people that got the first play votes are very deserving of it. In my opinion, KD should have got 10-0. And the best player in the world is KD. I mean, we've talked about in the last episode, what he's done this season coming off the catastrophic injury, and he's the most unguardable player in the world. You can't guard him
Yeah.
one-on-one. It's just you give him the ball and he's gonna score. You double, triple, you can do whatever you want. You can't guard him. And yeah, so that's my opinion on it.
All right, so moving on. WWE, what are your ratings for the SummerSlam matches, and what are your post-match opinions? And what are some of your favorite moments and least favorite moments? Also, what are your thoughts about the Extreme Rules matches so far? And what are your predictions for the rest of those matches?
To start it off, my SummerSlam matches post match ratings. So let's go through each match in SummerSlam. It was a great SummerSlam event. It was one of the best I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So we start with the first match: Big E versus Baron Corbin. You know, to be honest, I thought it was a good kickoff show match. Corbin having the Money in the Bank briefcase from Big E, and Corbin, he was having this sort of character of like being this poor guy who has no money, who needs help, and he does whatever he can to get back on the top. So he stole the Money in the Bank briefcase. It was a pretty nice storyline. It was a good match, and Big E wins. I think it was an okay storyline. The match had, Big E hit his finisher, so I think I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think it was a good start for the show.
Mm-hmm.
The second match was for the Raw Tag Team Champions, AJ Styles and Omos versus RK Bro. I gave it an 8 out of 10. And the reason is I think, the match started off good, with Omos, he dominated early. He was attacking Riddle, and then they continued to then tagged in Styles. They continued to beat him up. Then Riddle's, eventually he made the tag to Randy Orton. Randy Orton came in, and then eventually Riddle took out Omos. Then eventually Randy Orton hit that RKO. They won the match. And why I gave it an 8 out of 10, I feel as though I made the prediction that RK Bro was going to win because it's so popular. Everybody in the arena loves that team. And for them to win, it just made a lot of sense for how it was developing. Two guys that, on screen, their characters are so different, but their chemistry is so good. It's like, it's different, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
The fans love this combination, so it just made sense for RK Bro to win, and I just loved the match overall, so I gave it an 8 out of 10. The next one, Alexa Bliss versus Eva Maria. This is a little harsh rating, but I gave it a 4 out of 10, and I
Four.
think it's because I wasn't a big fan of the match to begin with. The wrestlers who are here are both very talented. It's the storyline that was built. It was kind of built over a doll, but the doll is pretty famous to have that gothic character. But the way it was kind of built,
Mm-hmm.
where, in the beginning, you have like Eva Marie is kind of using a hair pull to take Bliss down. You know, she grabs Lily, slapping the doll, and then out of nowhere, Bliss starts to attack her. And then Bliss hits the DDT, scores the win. And then Eva Maria blames Doudrop for her loss. And then they have their friendship gets breaking up as well. So I gave it a 4. I just didn't, it was good, but not too much action, I feel. It was
Yeah.
just an okay match. Could have been a lot better. So the next match is Sheamus versus Damian Priest. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I think it had a lot of good offense in the match. And I think I actually picked Sheamus to win the match, but giving it to Damian Priest makes a lot of sense. Damian Priest is a young, upcoming star, and they need to develop new young talent.
Mm-hmm.
So it made sense for Damian Priest to win, and it was a good match. Damian Priest gets his moment. He can continue to rise and elevate as a top star in the WWE. The next match for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos versus the Mysterios. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think it was a good match. I think the Usos, as I expected, they were going to win. It just made more sense. Had a good offense within the match. The Usos retained their championship, and now they can move on to a new feud. And while I was watching SmackDown, I seen that Dominic and Rey Mysterio, seems like the angle that they're going on is like a breakup between Mysterio and his son, which would be crazy if this actually happened because they're father son in real life. So if they break up
Yeah.
on screen, it could be definitely a really real and personal storyline. It'd be crazy to watch. The next match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. This is a very harsh rating. I gave it a 2 out of 10.
Wow.
And I think it's because it was actually supposed to be Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. Something happened. I think Sasha Banks wasn't able to compete. They portrayed it as Sasha Banks was going to be there. She didn't show up.
Wait, so it was
And
like a
then,
last minute change?
yeah, it was kind of like a
Oh
last minute
wow.
change. And then bringing back Becky Lynch, who was supposed to come back later. But since Sasha wasn't there, kind of made sense to bring Becky back. Becky comes back. Everybody's excited. It was a good surprise for the WWE fans. But the match, the reason I gave it 2, I mean, this match could have been an A+ kind of match. But, she came, she challenged Bianca Belair. The match literally lasted for like 20 seconds.
What?
It was a really short match. You just did
Wow.
one move and then 1, 2, 3. So it was a really fast. A lot of people have been complaining about that match, like, oh, it's so bad. They ruined Bianca Belair. But I could see what the company is doing. It seems like they're making Becky Lynch a heel. So it makes sense. If you're gonna make her heel, you want her to be hated. It looks like a lot of people
Yeah.
still hate her, but she's still got a lot of fans. I mean, people blame Becky Lynch. I don't think that's right. It's not her fault. The company called her and she came and she did the match.
Yeah.
But it's the company's decision what they wanted to do. But definitely could have been a 10 out of 10. These are 2 of the top female superstars in the WWE. So it's a 2 because of how the match went. It was literally a really short match, but I think we can see in Extreme Rules they'll have a better match. The next match, Nikki ASH versus Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. That was actually, it was a triple threat match, really good match. A lot of offense, a lot of attacks from each of the superstars. It was a really fun match to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people probably thought maybe, oh, it won't be the best match, but it was a really good match. It was a good triple threat match. Nikki ASH got a chance to shine. She was the champion. A lot of people didn't really believe it, but she deserved it. She really proved that she's a top wrestler as well in the company. Charlotte Flair, the most decorative female superstar, with so many title reigns. Rhea Ripley, a young star, so having young stars and a veteran. But Charlotte Flair winning just made the most sense, having her have like a long title reign. She's had a lot of reigns,
Yeah.
been very, very short, one-day reigns. She needs a long reign. The next matchup, Edge versus Seth Rollins. This is a 10 out of 10, no question. What a match. I mean, you had Edge hitting spears. Edge hit a spear. Seth Rollins kind of countered it with a pedigree in midair. It was just a good match, and the Edge ended up winning by a submission. So 10 out of 10, no question about it. Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg. I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was okay. Had some offense here and there, but still not a fan of how Bobby Lashley, yes, he's a heel, and I know heels usually cheat to win in a sense, but he doesn't have to be booked like that. He should be booked as a heel like Roman Reigns is, how he kind of fights one-on-one. Most of the time, like against John Cena, he didn't, it was just no interference, and he beat him fair and square. Bobby Lashley could be booked like that as well because he's such a good superstar. He's a great heel persona, but you see MVP hits Goldberg with, I think, a crutch on the bottom of his leg, and then he injures him, and then his son comes to stop it, and then Bobby Lashley kind of hits the hurt lock on his son, and making the feud seems like it's going to continue later on with Bobby Lashley and Goldberg, maybe in Crown Jewel. But
Yeah.
I gave it a 6 out of 10. Then Roman Reigns versus John Cena, I would have gave it a 10, but I went a little specific. I went 9.5 out of 10. This was like literally the perfect match. If you give it like if the Edge and Seth Rollins was an A plus, then Roman's and John Cena is an A. It's a little less because it was a great match. I think Edge and Seth Rollins stole the show, but Roman Reigns, John Cena, great match. Cena hits an AA, another AA on the table, AA on the top rope. Roman Reigns keeps on kicking out, just showing the type of champion he is. Roman Reigns hits 2 Superman punches. They kick out. It was a great match. A lot of offense, a lot of finisher. But eventually, Roman Reigns uses heel tactics, saying, I'm WWE. He even said about like, yo, I'm gonna Hollywood, I'm gonna ruin this man, saying stuff like that. His heel tactics were great. Match was great. It was a really good end. And at the end, nobody expected Brock Lesnar to return. I definitely not see that coming. Um, Brock Lesnar returns, and Paul Heyman, who was his manager, Paul Heyman is now the manager of Roman Reigns. So it's a really interesting dynamic. What's going on? It could be a big money making feud for sure. So I'm really excited about that. But that match was a 9.5, but it was basically a perfect match.
Mm-hmm.
So now going on to the next one. My favorite moments of SummerSlam, I would say, was Edge versus Seth Rollins. Um, because that match was just so great. Edge, finally competing on SummerSlam. So many years since we got to see him in this type of pay-per-view, and he wins. It just made a lot of sense. And the match, it delivered. Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Roman Reigns, who's the greatest right now in the company, versus John Cena, who's been the greatest for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Roman Reigns winning just makes it mark that he's on that tear and he shouldn't be stopped. Nobody should beat him, just being projected as a top of the company. So I really love that match as well. The least favorite moments, of SummerSlam has to be Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie. That match, wasn't my favorite match. Also, the Drew McIntyre versus Jinder was okay as well. Bianca Belair versus Becky. I mean, Becky returning was a great moment, but the match was a really garbage match. Like, it was just the way it was portrayed in 20 seconds for somebody to win. But if you want people to hate Becky, then this is perfect to do. Now people seem like to hate her a little more, and she's being portrayed as a heel. So now we have the next topic, Extreme Rule. So it seems like so far they have announced Bobby Lashley versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward for that match. Raw, I've always said is the B show.
Yeah.
They've not been doing a great job, with the creative storyline. But finally, Bobby Lashley to get like something new and fresh, not the same thing all over again. And Randy Orton is the perfect opponent, 14-time world champion. And this could be one of Bobby Lashley's toughest opponents, and it makes sense, to have this kind of match, if Bobby Lashley wins, continues his persona. I'm rooting for Randy Orton to win because I'm a big Randy Orton fan, but this is a good match. It's a fresh start. Then the next one, Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. This is also, a lot of people have been wanting this for a long time. It just makes sense. Charlotte Flair finally can get a new feud, and Alexa Bliss is the perfect character. We never really see them fight. So this is the perfect match, and I'm excited for this one. So I'm excited for these two matches. I think for Raw to have these two titles, they have the WWE Championship and the Raw Women's Championship, and have these two matches. These are perfect feuds. So we're looking forward to it, for sure. Then the SmackDown Women's Championship, we have Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. This is a great match. It can deliver an A+ match. Let's see how WWE books it. Maybe they might add Sasha Banks to this Extreme Rules match. I'm assuming they might not, because I don't know when she's returning. She is rumored to return on Madison Square Garden on September 10th. But if they do it a triple match, that would be great. Like, this could be the match of that pay-per-view, like the best match. So I'm excited for this one too. Then we have the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor. No problems with this match. This is a perfect match, main event match. Finn Balor just lost to Roman Reigns on SmackDown, but then they kind of had this tease of like this sort of red color, and it's might teasing him going back to his demon Finn Balor when he was like kind of had this gothic character. So it's definitely going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
So now going into my Extreme Rules prediction. So the rest of the matches I believe are going to be this. So I believe it's going to be RK Bro versus the Viking Raiders. And I think it's because the Viking Raiders are a great tag team, and RK Bro has already faced AJ Styles and Omos. You don't want it to keep being repetitive, right? So start something new. So I like this matchup. I think that's what will happen. Usos versus the Street Profits. It's kind of been showing when the Street Profits came out to kind of help Finn Balor at a time. So it seems like that's what they're pushing forward. So I think it's going to be that Street Profits versus Usos. The Miz versus John Morrison. This match was supposed to happen on Raw. I'm not sure why it didn't happen. And it's like their friendship. Miz and John Morrison have been a tag team for a long time, and the Miz turned on him. So it makes sense to have this match in Extreme Rules, kind of John Morrison hopefully winning and having a chance, these two to both be single stars. They would both definitely benefit from that. Another match I believe will be Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. Nakamura, the Intercontinental Championship's it's a really fun reign, with the musician guy. They have Rick Boogs. It's really fun, and he can also wrestle. Sami Zayn just kind of came back. He's fighted Dominic Mysterio. He beat him. So it makes sense to have this kind of feud. It'll definitely be a fun match. Then the last one, Eva Marie versus Doudrop. Well, they were supposed to have a match. I think they're extending the match. They had like that Eva Marie couldn't compete on Raw. So it seems like this match could happen because, they were like a team together. It seems like Eva Marie's kind of using Doudrop in that storyline. Now Doudrop had enough, and now they have this kind of match. And I think it's cool to give Doudrop this push to be a babyface. I think to develop new stars, and Eva Marie continuing this heel persona. Moving on to topic 3. Cristiano Ronaldo returns to Manchester United after 12 years from Juventus for about 23 million euros. What impact do you think he will have on the team? And does this make Manchester United title favorites? What do you think?
Well, just to say this first, he is 36. So I do feel like his most important impact will be leadership. I don't feel like this team has a lot of leaders, and I don't feel like they have like really experienced players. And I feel like he'll bring that to the side. There's a lot of young players in the team, and I feel like they can learn from him. He's a top player, arguably the best ever. He's a great addition, and I feel like he might be able to take them over the top. There are some strong sides in Chelsea and Man City, but I feel like they can compete now. And if I were to like put this in like NBA terms, say if LeBron would have joined like I don't know Portland or something like that, I feel like that would be a decent move, you know?
It's like a move that makes like because it's like if LeBron joins Brooklyn, that's already
Yeah,
overpowered. So you're
yeah,
saying like
OD.
him joining makes them that contender
Yeah, it's like he joins a decent team.
and missing a piece.
Yeah,
I got a question for you. So you know how Ronaldo it shocked me when he went to Manchester.
yeah.
Why do you think, like your opinion, why do you think Ronaldo went back to United? Do you think it has something to do with Messi joining PSG?
As much as I want to say no, I think it does. Because I feel like he's seen Messi go to PSG.
Knowing the power move that made.
Yeah, he knows that they probably will be now the Champions League favorites. So he wants to go to a team where he think can really compete. And to be honest, I did see news that he was supposed to go to Man City. But Man United hijacked the deal. They took over. They said, we can't let him go. So they have him now. And I feel like it wasn't a response. I feel like I was hearing rumors that he wanted to leave before. But I feel like the Messi move just solidified it. And now he had to go.
Definitely that move was very shocking when I saw that happen. I was shocked. I thought he wanted to stay in Juventus, but to me, it also seems like that move was made because of what happened and PSG. So maybe he believes he has a better title shot
Yeah.
with Man United. So going on, Arsenal, despite spending the most in the transfer window, 130 million, are now 20th, bottom of the league, following 3 defeats to Brentford 2-0, Chelsea 2-0, and Man City 5-0. They also have 0 goals scored. What is your reaction to this?
Well, see, this is my team, so this is like very tough. We're horrible right now. We have no style of play, no organization, no creativity. We have nothing. We can't score. We can't defend. So we're just running on the pitch. We're running around. And I feel like the manager, like, as much as I don't want to blame him because I know managers do take the blame for everything, I feel like he has to like do something to save the job. I feel like even though the board did say that they fully support him, I feel like his time is running out, and he has to make something like work because nothing he's done has worked so far. It's been a horrible season, and I'm honestly just looking forward to the end at this point because I can't bear to watch these games.
I see.
For the next topic, the NBA has released their NBA Christmas schedule. The games are Hawks at Knicks, Celtics at Bucks, Warriors at Suns, Nets at Lakers, and Mavericks at Jazz. So, what is your initial reaction to the schedule? And do you agree with all 5 games? If not, what are some games you want to see?
So my initial reaction to the schedule, I think it's a pretty good schedule. The Christmas schedule that they made. The 2 matches I'm really looking forward to on the schedule: Hawks versus Knicks, and whoa, the Nets versus the Lakers. That's what I'm talking about. This is the dream matchup. A preview potentially, in my opinion, will be the preview of the NBA Finals. You have KD,
Yeah,
James Harden, Kyrie, and now they stacked it up more. They signed LaMarcus and they signed Paul Millsap. You got Blake Griffin on the other side. You got LeBron, AD, Russ. They got Kendrick Nunn, Malik Monk, Rondo is back.
yeah,
DeAndre Jordan, who's friends with KD and Kyrie,
yeah. That was crazy.
he got I think bought out. He's on the Lakers. This is very interesting. It's a dream matchup. A lot of star power both sides, and it's gonna be a really good match. So that match I'm also looking forward to. I think the Mavericks and Jazz is a great matchup. Warriors and
Yeah.
Suns, a great matchup. Celtics and Bucks. But in my opinion, these are if I would had a choice of the 5 games I want to see, this is my list. Hawks versus Knicks,
Mm-hmm.
which I agree with that one. That's a really good matchup with Trae Young, with the history he had with the Knicks right
Yeah.
now. The second one, I think this definitely could have been a matchup. Suns versus the Bucks. And I think it's because, you know,
Yeah.
this is a preview, not preview, but meaning like it's kind of like
Like a
kind of
rematch.
a like a rematch, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
of the 2021 NBA Finals. So it makes sense, to have this, and if they play in Milwaukee, also makes more sense. Definitely has a little more history to it.
Yeah.
I would want it to definitely see that matchup. Another one, Nets and Lakers, no disagreements there. That matchup has to be there. And now I have Warriors and Denver is my 4th matchup, and it's an interesting matchup that I chose. I think it's because I'm hearing that Clay is expected to come back Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So just having Curry, Clay, Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, Draymond against Jamal Murray is expected to be back. You got Murray, Joker, Gordon, um, Jeff Green, Michael Porter Jr. A lot of star power. I just think it'd definitely be a really fun matchup.
Yeah.
They're both equally talented team. Denver, to me, if healthy, they're a legit threat in this conference, and so is Golden State. So that's what definitely a matchup I want to see. Then I got two more matchups. So I know it's technically only five, but these are two that I have on mind. Dallas versus Clippers. So I was thinking this would be an ideal
Yeah.
matchup if
That'd be
Kawhi was
crazy.
healthy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's not healthy, but this was a great first round matchup. We went to 7 games. I mean, I could see this happening, right? If like in my mind, it just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But since Kawhi's hurt, the other option I went with, I don't know if a lot of people would agree on this, but I picked Heat versus Bulls, and I think it's because I feel like the Bulls are this young, up and coming, rising team, with a lot
Yeah.
of star power, and the Heat, with the acquisition they made, it has a you know, little history, with the Jimmy Butler, who played for
Yeah, yeah.
Chicago, Kyle Lowry, DeRozan being friends against each other. I think it'd definitely
Yeah.
be a cool match. So I would say those are the matchups I would see. But if I was gonna pick one between Heat versus Bulls or Dallas versus Clippers, I'd probably take Heat versus Bulls since Kawhi is hurt. If Kawhi is not hurt, I want to see Dallas versus Clippers, like a rematch on
Yeah.
Christmas Day. It'd definitely be really fun. So what are yours? What's your opinion on this?
The two games I really are like you said, Hawks and Knicks. I gotta see that game. Nets and Lakers, and the rest I feel kind of iffy about.
Yeah, they're okay, but I feel like they could
Yeah,
definitely be better.
I really wanted to see. I wanted to see Heat versus Bucks because the Heat did get swept by the Bucks last year, well
Mm.
last season, and I feel like they added some decent talent. So I want to see them running back,
Yeah, that
try
would be
again.
actually a good matchup for sure.
I want to see Clippers versus the Suns.
Oh,
Uh,
if Kawhi is healthy, that's a matchup. Too much
yeah,
beef in that matchup. Too
yeah,
much history. You got Chris Paul don't like Paul George. I mean, Rondo's gone now, but
yeah, yeah.
it's a lot of history in that matchup.
Even if Kawhi isn't healthy, I still want to see it because
That's true.
he wasn't healthy throughout most of the series. So and it was a
Yeah,
close series for the most part.
yeah,
So I want to see that game again.
definitely. That's a good matchup. I agree on that one.
I also want to see Portland versus Nuggets because
That's a good matchup
the
too.
Nuggets did sweep them, but Jamal Murray's coming back. The Blazers added some pieces. I mean, I wouldn't call them top talent, but they're decent pieces. I just want to see if Dame can win.
Yeah, I agree on that. Also, for Denver to not be on Christmas, I think that's disrespectful. How is the MVP not
Yeah,
on Christmas? I mean, just want to say that I've been hearing that around,
yeah,
like searching up on the internet. Like, it's crazy. Like, I think all the time the MVP is mostly on Christmas. So, for the Joker not to be on Christmas with the team that Denver got, that's unfortunate.
yeah,
I definitely like the matchups that you play. The Clippers and Suns would definitely be a great
yeah, yeah,
matchup.
yeah. But like you said about Jokic, I always feel like he's been very disrespected. Like he's a top talent. I feel like people just
We
brush him off for some
underappreciate
reason.
him.
I don't know. Maybe it might be the market size. I don't know.
Maybe if he played in the Lakers,
Yeah,
people be talking about a lot more. This
yeah.
small market
You see
thing
him
is
everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah, small market versus big market thing is definitely a big thing
yeah,
in the league. Where you get more recognition.
yeah. True.
Uh, yeah. So moving on to the next topic, topic number 5. Who do you think the most overrated basketball player in the NBA is right now currently?
This might be controversial. I know you might feel some type of way about this, but I have to say the most overrated player in the current NBA is Damian Lillard.
What? Okay. All right. Let me hear. Let me hear your
I knew
point of
I
view on
knew you were
this.
gonna I knew you were gonna have a reaction. It's Damian Lillard. I'm sorry, it is. It is. I feel
Okay.
like he's been overrated a lot recently. People said he was an MVP candidate. He was nowhere near MVP candidate. I'm sorry.
Okay.
His team got swept in the playoffs.
I think they lost in 6.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same. I mean, a loss is a loss.
Okay.
And I also feel like I don't know. He's been held as a sniper when really his career average is what 36%. That's league average. So I feel like maybe it's volume. And I've always held this opinion, but I feel like Dame's best comparison is Kemba on the Hornets. I feel like he's just Kemba with a better
Hmm.
team because they're
Interesting.
both
That's
they're
an
both volume
interesting take.
scorers. They're both need the ball in their hands, and I feel like if Kemba had a decent team, he'd be in the same spot as Dame in the East. It's just that Kemba's team was so bad that he had to do what he did. And also, I feel like and the shooting splits aren't even that different. Like Kemba's career average is what 35 around that. Dame's is what 36, 37. So they're pretty close there.
Okay.
So I feel like they're two very similar players, and I feel like Kemba Walker gets a lot of unnecessary hate, and Dame gets it's not unnecessary love, but I just feel like he's overrated like a lot.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Before I say who the most, in my opinion, the most overrated basketball
Yeah,
player in the NBA is in 2021, I'm gonna have to disagree on that
I
respectfully
know.
because I think but
Yeah,
Dame and Kemba, I don't think they're not even close. I don't believe Dame is like levels above
yeah, I know.
Kemba. I
Yeah,
do agree with you
at
that
the moment, yeah.
Kemba.
I mean like Kemba like in his prime, like like
Oh,
when he
okay,
was like
yeah,
top.
then that makes sense. But
But
I do
even
believe.
then, they still do have different play styles and stuff. But I'm just talking about numbers wise.
Okay, I understand it based on the stats you put.
Yeah, yeah,
You have a reasonable take. But Dame, you know, like he's been the most clutchest player in the NBA this season. His numbers has always been top. I think the difference is that Dame also plays in the West. It's very difficult. I do give you he's wherever, like if you put him on a team, right? He's not a guy that you're gonna say, okay, if I have him,
yeah.
say if you put him on Knicks, they're a title contender. He's not that kind of guy. But now if
True.
you put him on the Lakers, you put him on Philly, okay, that's different because that team's already good. Um, but I personally feel like Dame is um he's an MVP candidate. He's a superstar level. Maybe he's in that top 10, maybe the lower tier of that. But uh, I'm actually shocked with that the
Yeah,
statement that you made. But I do agree with the Kemba and the Hornets. Dame did have better teams, and Dame never got that far. I
yeah,
do think Dame playing in the West makes it tougher. But you have a
yeah,
point that Kemba played on the Hornets. It was not really that good of a team. Really, I think they made the playoffs maybe once, and they didn't make the playoffs, and it's kind of like that. But it's definitely an interesting take.
yeah.
I know a lot of people when they watch it, there's gonna be a lot of disagreements, but
Yup.
it's definitely an interesting take. But the person I'm gonna say, and I've been wanting to say this from day one, is Ben Simmons,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna tell you
Yeah,
why.
I 100% agree.
Thank you. I'm gonna tell you why right now. I'm gonna go each season his stat line. 2017, he averaged 15.8 points,
Yeah,
8.1 rebounds, 8.2 assists. So, okay, stat line. Let's go to 2018. 16.9 points, 8.8 rebounds, 7.7 assists. Seems pretty similar, right? Still.
yeah,
2019, 16.4 points, 7.8 rebounds, 8 assists. Still seems is not too much of a increase. It actually
yeah, yeah,
decreased. His points decreased. 2020, 14.3 points, 7.2 rebounds, 6.9 assists. I'm looking at numbers. I don't see a vast
yeah.
improvement in Ben.
He's
He's
never
kind of
improved at
coming back
all.
as the same,
Yeah,
or the same player every single year, right? And does he have potential to be superstar? Yes, but when he came in, oh, he's the next LeBron. He's the next
yeah,
young king. To me, the next LeBron is Luca. But
true.
to put him, that high is like, okay, yeah, he has a potential. When he can start shooting, oh, he can be a superstar player. He has potential. Potential's there. But he's been in the how many years? He's been in the league for 4 years. He's either afraid to shoot, he doesn't shoot.
Yeah,
You gotta at times shoot. You don't have to be like Steph Curry, but you gotta have a shot.
yeah.
Somebody be like,
At
let
least
me
make a
respect you.
difference,
Because
like respect you. Yeah, yeah.
if anybody's guarding you, I remember watching a game when it was Lakers and Philly. LeBron stand all the way in the back.
He was in the paint.
Yeah, so he's like and Ben Simmons did shoot it, I believe. But like this is why, my friend Brandon, he's always been a big Ben Simmons fan. I told him that, he was like, oh, the Sixers gonna win the championship. I'm like, look, this is regular season. Let's see what happens in the playoffs. And I was right. I called it from
Yeah,
day one that the Sixers was not gonna win the championship. I mean, I most had them to the Eastern Conference Final because I think they would beat the Hawks, but thank you, Hawks. They proved everybody wrong.
yeah,
But to me, he's been the most overpaid. Let's look at his 2021 playoffs. He averaged 11.9 points, 8.8 assists, 7.9 rebounds. Like his numbers to me are like, okay, he's a solid player, but he's not
yeah.
you're putting him
Star.
to that all-star superstar. I know he made
Yeah,
the all-star this season. I mean, I could agree with that at some point, but at times I personally didn't feel like he was an all-star this season. I feel like there was
yeah.
more deserving
Same.
candidates than him. But I'm not too mad at that. He does, what he brings that defensive. He's a elite defender. He's a great passer. He can score when he wants to, when he's aggressive. I feel like sometimes he's not as aggressive as he should be.
Yeah,
And then let's look at his against the Hawks, 9.9 points, 8.6 assists, 6.3 rebounds. I mean, I think everybody remembers that iconic play that keeps showing up. Like I keep remembering it. It's like Ben Simmons has the dunk. He
yeah.
passes it to Thibault because it seems like he's afraid to shoot free throws. And also his free throw shooting percentage was
Yeah, that's
34.2% in the
horrible.
2021 playoffs. That's very low. I think, does he have potential to be superstar? Yes. I'm not here to criticize him that much. I do believe he has superstar potential, but I do believe he's the most overrated player right now. I think he's overhyped, and I think there's other players that are a lot better than him. He's been talked about more.
Yeah,
And right now I know he's having this whole issue with the trade stuff, and we'll get into that hopefully the next episode.
yeah.
But so that is my opinion on that. So I do believe, Ben Simmons is the most overrated player. Going on to the next topic. Most underrated basketball player. Who you think that is?
I might be a little biased, but I have to say it's DeJounte Murray of the San Antonio
I
Spurs.
like that take.
I feel like he's been improving every year. He's a lockdown defender. He was just outside the top 10 in steals. He finished 11th, outed by only Kawhi Leonard.
That's a good list to be on.
And his stat line this season was 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. And he's working on his 3-point shot. He's working on his mid range, and he's getting more aggressive. So I feel like we could see like maybe an all star in a couple years appearances. Who knows? I think he could have been um he could have been on a defensive team this year, but you know how they pick. But I feel like he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. He's working on his jump shot. He's improving every year, and under Popovich, however long Popovich decides to stay, I feel like he'll be an all star in a couple of years, and the Spurs are building like a decent team.
I totally agree. I actually, that's a really interesting take. I think that I totally agree on it.
Yeah,
I actually didn't think about that. But the person I'm gonna say, you got to put more respect on this person's name, Nikola Vucevic. I hope I said
true.
his name right. But
Yeah, I think he did.
why? I feel like he's always been the most underrated center. We talk about Joel
Yeah,
Embiid,
yeah,
we talk about the Joker, we talk about Cat, we talk about Rudy Gobert. These center, but we don't talk about Vucevic enough. You know,
I agree.
he's a two-time All-Star, very deserving. He can do it all. He can shoot the three, right? Take it to the post, take it to the basket. He can do it all. His stat
Yeah,
line with the Bulls, he averaged 21.5 points. He shot 38.8% from three, 11.5 rebounds. So he's been averaging a double-double. Assist 3.9, not too bad. He is a center. We don't for centers, usually
yeah,
passing is not the most highest stat, right? But I feel like he's definitely the most underappreciated. He does like he needs to be talking about more with the centers. If you look in the East, like the top centers in the East, he should be in like top five, like no
yeah,
question.
yeah.
Like
Easily.
personally, this I don't know if this is a really like controversy take, but I personally believe if I'm gonna order all my top centers, I'm putting Joker and Bede, and then I have like Cat in there. Aiton might be in there, but I have Vucevic in my top five. I think.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
personally, I believe he's better than Rudy Gobert, right?
Yeah, he is.
I don't think he's better than Joker and Embiid. Cat, I know he had he still had a great season. But Cat is also a very talented player. But I do
Yeah,
believe you put him in those names with Aiton. He's talented. He just underappreciated because he played for Orlando Magic. They made it to the first round. They get eliminated early. Now he's going to be in Chicago with DeMar, with Lonzo, with Zach LaVine, with Alex Caruso. He's going to get more shine.
yeah,
So I'm excited for him. But I wish we definitely talked about him more. Orlando, like, it's a great franchise. I'm not here to disrespect the franchise, but, usually people get underappreciated because of where they play or how far they go.
true.
Even Devin Booker was getting underappreciated at
Yeah,
times because he played for the Suns and the Suns couldn't make the playoffs. But finally, now he's going to get his appreciation because he finally made the playoffs, which I think he should have got appreciated since day one.
true.
And the Suns is a great franchise. It just took time for them to build. I'm happy now the Suns are back in playoffs. It's great to see
Yeah, same.
young stars like that. But Vucevic, you definitely need more respect on Vucevic.
Yeah.
So going on to the last topic, we're starting a new segment. What if? We will be talking about how things would be now if certain events in NBA history have never happened. We will be doing this once a month. Today's topic is what if James Harden never left OKC?
Very interesting. Very interesting. I feel like there's like a whole like bunch of things that could have happened because that group did make it to the finals. So I mean, I don't know if he would have became the player that he is today. I feel like he might have just been content with that 6 man role, and maybe have like I don't know, like what do you think his peak would have been like coming off the bench for OKC?
I feel like eventually, like if
He would
they
have started.
if he eventually I feel like he would have started if he was there.
Yeah,
If I feel like maybe because he came off the bench and maybe they didn't believe him as much, they didn't think he could be a star. But if they allowed it and he became that same star that he is today, maybe it took maybe a few more years. I know that also, if you play on OKC, has to sacrifice. But he was able. So let's say he was able to become the same star that he is today. Let's say it took a few years. I mean, they could win 2
Yeah.
to 3 titles, no question about it. With that type of talent, Russ, James, and Kevin, obviously, they have to mesh. If they I know the
Yeah.
players that they were in the beginning are definitely not the same as they were now. But if they stay together, I do believe they would win about 2 to 3 championships. And we were talking about LeBron's move to Miami. LeBron
Yeah.
might have less championships.
And also, let me try to like think like further back because like if James Harden stays and that team performs well, like would KD leave? Like KD doesn't leave the Thunder, doesn't go to the Warriors, and that changes a whole lot.
That
Like
changes everything. Yeah.
yeah,
Then we don't got like a. I mean, Russ, James, and KD is like now. If you put these three together, that's a
yeah,
super team.
yeah, it is.
Then if that's the case and they stay together still to this day, then we're talking about LeBron not having Russ. Maybe there's maybe Buddy Hield is in Los Angeles. So
Yeah,
it changes everything definitely for sure. But I
yeah.
do believe they would have a dominant run. And I do believe 2 to 3 titles about, in my
Another
opinion.
thing I'm
But
thinking about is how Chris Paul joined the Rockets because of, I mean, I'm not gonna say because of James Harden, but he obviously was a factor in the
yeah,
move.
that's true.
So would Chris Paul stay in the Clippers? Like where would Chris Paul be
Or
right
maybe
now?
I heard it was rumored he was going to go to San Antonio, but the whole
Yeah,
Kawhi thing caused him
yeah,
not to go. Maybe
that's
he would
true.
have. He might have he might have joined a new team. It definitely a certain like even one thing can change the whole league.
Yeah,
Like
a lot.
this is so far in the past, but this could have affected LeBron's decisions of where he
I feel
wants
like
to go.
LeBron
This
would have
could have.
like a couple of more rings if like
I
yeah,
agree on that with the Cleveland team. He definitely
yeah,
would have. Because maybe, but that team is if they the same talent. I don't know because that big three, if they're the same they are today, they could beat Cleveland
wait
with
with
James, Russ, and KD
yeah,
if
that's
they're the
true.
same
Yeah,
kind of guys. But LeBron definitely, I think he would have got at least 2 in Cleveland if that
and
was the case. I think he gets 2 in Cleveland at least.
and with you speaking on Golden State, like would Golden State even have a ring
I don't think they
if
beat OKC. They get to the conference finals and OKC
yeah, yeah,
they cook them. I think OKC
yeah,
beat them in 6. It can still be a like a
close series?
it could be a close series, but I
Yeah,
believe OKC is better. Just looking at talent, I know they would have to mesh, and if they were those same players, but
yeah,
I mean, now in the league, it seems like the Nets. If you want to win a title, I mean, you just got to make it work.
that's true.
And Kevin Durant wouldn't have been hated so much in OKC. It changes everything. But Kevin Durant, I mean, I've heard that he would do it again. He's okay with that
Yeah, yeah,
decision.
I heard that too. I seen that
But
interview you had with Draymond.
yeah, let's sit on Draymond. But I do believe if this happened, the league definitely would have changed. Who a lot of players where they went, it would have affected that.
Yeah,
But I think that they would have definitely have at least 2 championships.
true.
So that does it, for episode 3 of the Straight Sports Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Straight Sports Podcast, where we keep updating you and update, when our new episodes are dropping and which platform. There's on my bio,
Yeah,
there's a link tree, and you can check where you want to watch our episodes at. And also for the following episode 4, a small preview, we'll be talking about the whole Ben Simmons saga, what our thoughts about it. We're going to be talking about AEW with CM Punk returning, having his first fight in 7 years. Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Ruby Soho all come into All Elite Wrestling, and whether or not AEW is a legit competition to WWE, and should WWE be afraid. So yeah, that's it for now, and uh, keep supporting us, and we appreciate the support.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.